Hello there, welcome back to Beauty Bee. I'm Iris, and I'm currently trying to decide if this blue lip is kind of fun or just looks stupid. So, sound off in the comments below. Today we are doing my Pandas Eyeshadows update for the month of October. This is a project where I have honestly deviated enough from the original rules that I should probably give this spiel every single time. I choose 4, sometimes 5, singles or other shades that are really easy to pop out of their pans. Think like ColourPop or Viseart shades. And I stick them in this little Tarte palette, and then I build out a palette to work on for the month. My goal with all of these shades that are randomly selected is to use them 10 times and or hit pan. Usually, I actually don't know that I've hit pan on any shades during this round. I definitely did last year, but anyway, here is the palette that I was working on for the last month. I went with some very fall feelings. I wanted lots of warmth. I had some purple, some red. This hot pink was actually easier to work with than I thought it would be. I had this orange left over, probably wouldn't have selected an orange eyeshadow for myself. Let's go through the shades that I had in last month's project and which ones will be rolling over into next month's. The first shade we have is a shade that I'm going to be able to roll out. This is from ColourPop, and it is from the Play It Jewel palette. I don't remember what shade name it is, doesn't really matter, but I think I rolled this in back in maybe even the July update, and I finally managed to use it 10 times. I would have hit 10 uses on the 27th of September, so really not that long ago. It feels like a long time though. I'm not a big orange eyeshadow fan. This was fine. It looked nice in the crease. I would often mix it with this warm toned sort of yellow brown from Sydney Grace, but not my favorite shade, but a shade that I think was pretty appropriate for this time of year actually, and one that wasn't too hard to use 10 times. The next shade that I will be able to roll out is this pink. This is such a fun shade. This is the shade Pick Me from ColourPop, and it is a not quite as hot pink as I'd always thought of it. It has a little bit more berry to it than a true hot pink does. It tones it down just a little bit while still being very bright, very fun to work with. I actually wore this to work a couple of times in my outer corner with a lighter pink on the lid or as liner. It's really pretty. I enjoy it a lot, and it's not a shade that I'd given a whole lot of love to before I put it in this project, so I was glad to get to 10 uses on that. Then there are 3 shades that will be rolling over for another month. The first, which I really thought I was going to hit 10 uses on this month, but I think time just kind of got away from me, is from Viseart. This is from the Petite Pro 1, and it is this golden bronze shade. Actually, when it's swatched, it is pulling a little bit more orangey than golden, but still really pretty. Great for this time of year. Easy to wear, nice quality shade. For some reason, it didn't make those 10 uses happen, but I'm sitting at 8 uses right now. Then the last 2 shades I just rolled in the last update, so I haven't had as much time to work on these. The first one is from Luxie Beauty. This is the shade Salted Caramel, and it is stunning. I mean, look at that shine. I think that's even picking up nicely on camera. It is sort of a light golden base, but it has a stunning blue shift to it. In person, I can even see a little bit of, well, a bit of like a pink purple shift, but I don't think that's going to come across on camera. In any case, it's a beautiful metallic wet look highlight for the middle portion of the lid. That's pretty much how I wore it. I think a couple times I put it closer to my inner corner, but gorgeous. I mean, that is the shade without glitter glue and dry. So there's a universe of possibilities, I'm sure you can imagine. And I have used Salted Caramel 6 times. The last shade I have used 7 times, and it is again from ColourPop. And this, I think, is what got in the way of me getting to 10 uses on that bronze from Viseart. This is a rose gold shade. This is also from the Play It Jewel palette. And they aren't super similar, but they're similar enough that I think I was kind of picking between these two anytime I wanted to use a similar shade. So I do like this pink. I am looking forward to using it for another month. It's such a pretty shade. Alright, so there are the 3 shades that will absolutely be staying in my palette for another month. And now let's choose the random shades to add in. I think I'm going to add 2 in. Last month I accidentally went from my usual 4 to 5 shades. I just, for some reason, pulled 2 new shades instead of 1 and didn't even realize that I had made that mistake until I think I was editing or well into the process of choosing my shades. And I think that next month's update will probably be the finale for the year. That just gives me the month of December and the second half of November to really focus on my year-long project pans. So if I put this video up a little bit later in the month, I should have enough time to get some good use on 5 different shades. That was way more explanation than we needed. Let's go to the random number generator. I have all of the shades that are eligible to be pulled into this project in this spreadsheet, and I am going to pick 2 random values between 1 and 230. So, moment of truth. Shades 205 and 169. 205 should actually be a pretty new shade, I think. So, let's first figure out what 169 is. Again from Play It Jewel. We're gonna redraw from that. I don't know what color it is. Honestly, I probably shouldn't redraw because something right in the middle of Play It Jewel is probably like a really nice warm brown shade that would be really good to work on in the month of October, but no, I don't want that. So what was 205? 205 is from the Natasha Denona Ayana palette, which is like a deep, cooler toned neutral. It's actually not what I have on my eyes today, but it could have given me the same look that I have on my eyes today. Okay, so that is the second shade in the Natasha Denona Ayana palette. Let's redraw 1 shade. Shade 73, which is going to be from the ColourPop Mandalorian palette, another really great fall palette. So I will go pull those shades in, I will build out my palette, and we will talk through the results. Okay, I am pretty psyched with my choices. Let's first talk about the 2 shades that I randomly selected. The first, well, actually the second, was from the Mandalorian palette. This is the shade Tatooine Glimmer. It is a cool toned brown with some beautiful sheen to it. I think this will make a really pretty one shadow look. I could see myself using this on the lower lash line. I take back my description. This is more of a neutral brown than a cool toned, but it's very pretty. Like I said, sort of thing I could see myself using as a one shadow look, putting on my lower lash line in my outer corner. Should be a relatively easy shade to use 10 times, and it really does go nicely with the color scheme we have going on. The next shadow was from the Natasha Denona Ayana palette, and this is the shade very creatively called Liner. So, you know, do I know better than Natasha Denona how to use this shadow? No, so I probably will use it as liner most of the time. I might use it in my outer corner too, but I see that as a less than likely scenario. I mean, I've barely rubbed into that. That's nice. The texture on this feels really good. It's not showing up super pigmented, which is actually a good thing because I'm not that good at makeup, so we don't need anything with crazy pigments. But that seems like something I could build up, and I mean, that's over my wrist, and my wrist is not exactly the smoothest, nicest canvas to work with. So I think that should work. And now here is the palette that I will be working with. I decided I wanted to really lean into the Halloween spirit, get those spooky vibes. And this is kind of giving me late nights, Dracula feelings. I love this color scheme. So now that I've talked myself up, let's go through the other colors. So the first 3 shades here is Salted Caramel, here is the Rose Gold from ColourPop, and here is the Bronze from Viseart. Those we've already gone over, those are already swatched on my arm with all the other things. The other shades I tried to pull from my Luxie and Sydney Grace singles. So first we have Glass Slipper. This is pretty close to a true white shade. It has a little bit of gold, a little bit of pink to it, but it's pretty close to a white, which I really enjoy white eyeshadow. It is something that I find really useful to lighten up looks, to transform other shades, and I thought that with the reddish shades and these deeper browns that I had going on, a white would be really helpful. Next we have the shade from Sydney Grace called Labyrinth, which is fitting in both in color scheme and name with the rest of the palette. It is this pretty cranberry shade. I am not doing a very good job of getting nice swatches, but it's a pretty shade. I think this will look nice in the crease. I could see myself using this over the lid and then putting a little bit of Salted Caramel on top. I think that would be a really pretty look. The remaining 2 shades are again from Sydney Grace, I believe. We have Delivered Freely, which is this deep red, sort of rusty shade. Let's see. I don't have any clean fingers, so these swatches might be interesting. Yeah, kind of a rusty violet almost. Is that a color? Because that's kind of what it's giving. Very pretty. And then finally we have Traveling Elegance, which is almost like an asphalt shade. So a very muted, deep set of colors, but I think that it's a set of colors that's going to be great for Halloween, nice for the early part of November. It's just a set that I'm really excited to work on. I haven't seen a palette that looks like this recently, and I'm kind of surprised because this seems very wearable. Anyway, that wraps up my update for the month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. You might like it around here. Thanks again for watching, and I hope I see you all next time. Bye!